and
Oh,
sausage,
no, that's
pizza.
the American way to eat pizza cold. Stick it in the refrigerator first.
Don't invite me to dinner then, Ken.
Well, I was just thinking, you know, if this guy could carry this over into the fashion design setting, we're going to scratch and sniff clothes. Can you see, imagine what that would do? That would save you the trouble of putting on cologne and perfume.
That's
and
right.
Just reach over and...
Just kind of scratch it up and you're ready to go. Well, there you go. There's your $1 million making idea.
Smells something. I don't think it's cologne. Remind me not to scratch over there.
I'll do that.
All right. Well, that's it for us this morning. Thanks for being with us. NBC Sunrise is coming up next.
Enjoy this beautiful day. Bye-bye.
Up next at noon on News 4, after years of searching, finally, 2 suspects in a Greenville murder case.
Some Simpsonville residents find more than water in their water supply.
Thousands of South Carolinians suffer head trauma every year. How to avoid the pain?
And the day Mount St. Helens blew her top. It's been a decade now. I'm Rebecca Williams for Ken Sparks.
And I'm Carol Goldsmith. News 4 Noon is next.
WYFF TV, Greenville. This is News 4 Noon.
Good afternoon. Locally, we have 73 degrees.
Under partly sunny skies.
3.5 years after it happened, Greenville police have made 2 arrests in the murder of Ella Mae Logan. Ms. Logan was a 96-year-old retired schoolteacher found dead in December of 1986. Her elderly brother found her bound and gagged in a bedroom of her Haney Street home, dead from asphyxiation. Greenville police say they finally got the information to break the case.
We have an informant or a witness who saw 2 people leave the house shortly before Mr. Logan staggered onto the front porch.
Bridges would give no further details. Last night, police arrested 39-year-old Clyde Dixon and 39-year-old Benny Adams. Both are currently serving time for armed robbery. Police say they lived in the Haney Street neighborhood near Ms. Logan. Both men have been transferred to the Greenville lockup. A Spartanburg County grand jury has indicted a Landrum man on charges he stabbed 2 police officers. Henry Fuentes is accused of stabbing the officers last month as they rescued his former girlfriend he was allegedly holding at knife point. Mr. Fuentes was indicted on 2 counts of assault and battery with intent to kill.
Rebecca, the Seneca man charged with holding 10 people hostage.
A contaminated water spill at the Oconee nuclear station could delay the scheduled restart of the Seneca plant. Duke Power officials say yesterday's spill of about 5,000 gallons of the water poses no public health threat. The nuclear station was to go back online in early June, but Duke officials now say it looks like it will be later. Power company spokesman Mike Mullen says an employee error led to that spill.
And while we're talking about the environment, the Spartanburg County Council chairman has attacked a state bill that puts tougher restrictions on South Carolina landfills. In a heated letter to state legislators,
fulfilling a campaign promise he made 2 years ago, Anderson County Sheriff Gene Taylor will graduate from the South Carolina Law Enforcement Academy today. After 8 weeks of training, Taylor finished just 4/10 of a point short of graduating with honors. Taylor tried the academy last year, but had to drop out because of a bad back.
And up next, the federal government plans to investigate Anderson County.
And the Army plans to do something about bad teeth in the reserves.
The problem is so widespread, nearly every hospital in the state has access to a head injury rehabilitation program.
Up next, a day to remember the power of Mother Nature.
Will she be kind to us this weekend? Judy's forecast in a moment.
Friend 4.
It was 10 years ago today that Mount St. Helens erupted with the fury of 2,500 atomic bombs, taking 57 lives. And the day won't go by unnoticed. Scientists and government officials in Washington state have scheduled a symposium to review what we've learned about the volcano since then. And about 400 of the people who worked on the rescue and recovery teams plan a reunion dinner tonight.
It was a mess, and today it's a watery mess over the midsection of the country. Floodwaters are rising across Missouri and Illinois, and the worst may be a couple of days away. But for a few towns, the worst has already arrived. In Centralia, Illinois, one man died in the floodwaters, and some homeowners are desperately trying to save what they have.
They need some weather like we've got. We have just had it perfect the past couple of days, and hey, should we keep our fingers crossed that it'll last through the weekend?
Well, if you had to order a perfect weekend, I think this weekend would be that. Up until Sunday, a chance on Sunday for some slight showers, but today is going to be beautiful. Relative low humidity levels, and the temperature's only going to be near 80, so it's going to be perfect.
Ideal.
Yeah, it is. Looking at our temperatures currently in Green.
I'm Bert Wolf.
We're being entertained. Isn't this sweet? Look at that. And not camera shy a bit. This is one of our puppies from the Greenville Humane Society, and Dr. Doug Seif is here. And we were trying to figure out just exactly what kind of puppy this is. We know it's a boy. We know it's about 12 weeks old, but then it gets a little hazy.
Yeah, it's supposed to be sort of a shepherd spitz cross, but I'm not really sure where all the spots came from, so we'll have to
I wish you could
guess
see.
at that.
I wish you could see these eyes. Look over here. Beautiful, beautiful green eyes, and so calm and sweet. Now, this is just an example of the many puppies and other animals that you have out of the Humane Society. Good selection for folks who want to adopt?
Right, we have a lot of puppies, and right now we have a lot of kittens as well, and a good selection of the adult dogs in our kennel as well.
Well, you want to come over here? He sounds like he's going to cry. Now, the Humane Society not only has puppies and kittens, but you often get other kinds of animals. We were talking a little bit about baby birds. Have you been seeing a lot of folks bringing those in?
Yeah, we've been getting in a lot of wildlife, and especially a lot of baby birds over the last few weeks.
He wants to come over here and see me. Now there's, I've always heard that if you should touch a baby bird, not like if it should fall out of the nest and you have to pick it up, not to put it back in the nest, that the mother will abandon it. Is that true?
No, that's not true, and that's sometimes part of the problem. People think they have to bring every bird on the lawn they find in, where if the bird has just fallen out of the nest, then if you set it back in there, the mother will come back and take care of it.
Now, what do people do if they do find like an injured bird? If they find a little baby bird that's injured, is the best thing to do to call the Humane Society or bring the baby bird by the Humane Society?
Yes, and they can also call and see, I guess, whether they think they should bring it in or not. But yeah, the injured, we take in all injured animals or wildlife like that, so we're the place to bring those sorts of things. And
we have a telephone number that we can put on the screen if you have particular questions about animals of any kind. Oh, Kelly wants to come see you. He got real excited. Or if you want to see about adopting, is it just as easy as ever to adopt an animal out of the Humane Society?
Pretty much. You can come in and pick out the animal, and then it will be scheduled for the next surgery day, and then they'll pick it up after surgery, and it's very simple and easy and gives a good animal another home.
This dog is in love with Carol. There you go. He's not going to be satisfied until you love him a little bit. Well, Dr. Doug Seif, we sure do appreciate you coming in, and we hope that we can help puppies like this find a home. And like we said, just call 242-4444, our 4-fax number, and you can get all the information you need. Thank you very much. And he wants to get at the last 2 words in, I think, or little bitty whines. And we'll check with Carol and see what's happening on Wall Street.
Right now, the Dow Jones Industrials are on the downside here. You see it. They are down over 15 points at 28. What a pretty place.
Now we're ready for the weekend. We can just head down to the coast.
Yeah, we are. Yes, that's it for us. Thanks for joining us. Have a good afternoon.
We'll see you later. Bye-bye. Up next on News 4 Noon, President Bush restores favored trading status to China.
Military helicopters will join the search for a missing plane between Georgia and North Carolina.
The damage assessment continues in the areas hit hard by flooding.
And being overweight may have more to do with genes than anything else.
Hello, I'm Rebecca Williams for Carol Goldsmith.
And I'm Ken Sparks. News 4 Noon is next.
WYFF TV, Greenville. This is News 4 Noon.
Good afternoon, everybody. In Greenville, we have 75 degrees.
And mostly sunny skies.
And the news this afternoon, President Bush says he is far from adequate, but he says his actions extending the trade benefits are not based on those reforms.
Ken, you may recall that President Bush is a strong supporter of the Pledge of Allegiance. Well, yesterday, a South Carolina House committee approved a measure that calls for the Pledge of Allegiance to become a required daily fixture in the state's public schools. The legislation would take effect at the beginning of the 1990-91 school year. It requires children in kindergarten through high school to pledge the flag during the course of the day. This bill has already passed the Senate. Military helicopters have now joined rescue workers in their search for John Godwin, the pilot of a small plane. He's been missing since late Tuesday afternoon. Godwin was on his way home to Franklin, North Carolina when his aircraft disappeared from radar during bad weather. The search is concentrated in Rabun County, Georgia, near the North Carolina border. 2 ground teams are searching the area, and Civil Air Patrol volunteers are looking for the plane in the heavily wooded mountain area.
The paramedic injured in Tuesday's fatal ambulance crash was released from the hospital this morning. Doctors say that Brian Reeby has sufficiently recovered to finish his recuperation at home. Reeby was injured and his partner killed Tuesday in a violent wreck on Highway 25 South. Paramedic Rick Sarles died instantly when the ambulance he was driving smashed head-on into a truck. Last night, his friends and colleagues lined up at Mackey Mortuary to pay their respects. Rick Sarles, by the way, will be buried this afternoon. The driver of the truck remains hospitalized this afternoon. Ray Kelly is listed now in good condition. Highway Patrol says charges against him are pending.
Citizens will gather at Gaffney High School tonight to hear about chemical waste found at the Medley Farm Superfund site. That site is about 6 miles south of Gaffney. The EPA is conducting the hearing to discuss their discovery of the chemicals. The EPA says the hazardous chemicals which were found in the soil and groundwater pose no immediate threat to nearby residents. That meeting is tonight at 7 o'clock at Gaffney High School. A far-reaching clean air bill was rushed through the House last night in Washington. The measure sets deadlines for states to bring cities into compliance with federal health standards. It sets a timetable on utility companies for controlling the emissions believed to produce acid rain, and it provides financial assistance for workers who may lose their jobs because of tougher pollution laws.
The nation's economy grew a meager There's one thing to talk about millions of dollars in damages and hundreds of square miles underwater, but for the Nowak family of Liberty, Texas, the flood is a very intimate experience. When Dwight and Betsy Nowak packed up and fled to higher ground, they had to leave their pets behind. So now they use a motorboat to go back every day to visit Arnold the pig, who has found sanctuary in a trailer, and Calico the cat, seen here, who's up on the apparently hot tin roof.
Good to know that they're safe and sound.
Yeah, I hope they're feeding them very well.
Hey, when we come back, we'll tell you what South Carolina law enforcement officers plan to do to help keep the roads safe this weekend.
And then we'll talk about what genes have to do with fat after this.
Law enforcement officers across the country are joining forces to prevent death on the highways during the upcoming Memorial Day weekend. As always, state troopers will be out in full force looking for drunk drivers, but this year, lawmen are using fewer appeals to force in their public awareness campaign. State troopers are passing out message cards for motorists to hang on their rear view mirrors. The cards remind the drivers it's up to them to make the holiday safe.
I believe in what you're doing. It's going to be up to each individual person traveling this weekend to make the right decision, to buckle your safety belt, to obey the speed limit, to not drink and drive, and to drive courteously.
Lawmen are trying to combat rising figures on Memorial Day weekend traffic fatalities. Last year, 13 people died on South Carolina roads over the Memorial Day weekend, an all-time record for the state. News organizations are often criticized for being too sensational in their reporting. But here's a twist. The founder of Citizens Against Violent Crime says the media probably isn't graphic enough in its crime coverage. Jim Grigo says most people really aren't aware of what happens during a violent crime, and he feels the public needs to be told exactly what occurs. Mr. Grigo formed the statewide organization after a random attack on his daughter on a downtown Charleston street 6 years ago.
Blocking the tobacco roads to kids, health sector. And I guess that means that chili cheeseburgers are still out.
Or you can blame mom and dad for it instead of what you eat.
Something else we can blame our parents
for.
That's
right. Hey, you know, it's really shaping up to be a great day out there.
It is.
And of course, weather-wise, Judy is the authority. She's up next with the forecast.
And then we'll tell you how Disney wants to make you famous and how they're going to do that after this. Well, I hope you're enjoying the afternoon. It really is a very comfortable one.
Time to get outside and enjoy that warm weather.
Right about 75 degrees still?
That's what it is right now, and it's not going to rise too much, maybe 80, but I think probably 78, 79 will be our highest today, so very pleasant. And looking at the temperatures at noon, 75 is Ken's day. He sees his brother as being a very colorful person.
That's true. You can't really appreciate that just on the television screen. You have to see it in person to appreciate
really
all the colors and the real style.
His brother's in camouflage.
Yes, that's
He's hiding.
He's in hiding. There
Right.
you go. Thank you, Judy. Well, here is your big chance. Walt Disney World wants to make a bunch of people part of its...
This is Tom Lowe reporting.
And here are some folks who may be perfect for that commercial. They've been reading and studying for months now, and it all comes down to this final competition. The National Geography Bee is underway in Washington today. There are 10 finalists between the ages of 11 and 14, and they're competing for thousands of dollars in scholarship money. It's a good thing they've been studying because their questions can range from rivers, physical, economic, or cultural geography, and even architecture. Good luck. Greenville's Meals on Wheels has been recognized by President Bush as the 151st Daily Point of Light. The president chooses one community service project every day to commend. Bush is saluting the local Meals on Wheels project for making life easier for homebound citizens by providing them with nutritious, hot, home-delivered meals at no charge. The Greenville Meals on Wheels program has been providing this service here since 1968. They do a good job.
Yeah, they do a great job, in fact. Now, if the president will just come and play with the annual golf tournament that they use to support Meals on Wheels,
Then he could really be showing them his support.
everybody will be happy. Now, we'll pause for just a moment. Today's forum's coming up next. We're going to talk about child care.
And also, we'll have a review of Back to the Future Part 3. It's out already.
I'm Sarah Voorhees reporting.
I got to get busy. I got to see Part 2 before Part 3 comes out.
It opens tomorrow. That's it for us today. Thanks for being with us. Hope we'll see you tonight at 6.
Bye-bye. Up next at noon on News Center 4, Greenville County deputies bulldoze 3 crack houses in the county.
Spartanburg authorities are still trying to identify the skeleton found by hunters yesterday.
For children with heart disease, a much better way of diagnosing the problem.
And you've heard of Top Gun. Today, we'll show you the Gunsmoke competition.
News Center 4 at noon is next.
WYFF Greenville. And now with the noon edition, Ken Sparks, Carol Goldsmith, and Judy Booker with weather. This is News Center 4.
Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us. I'm Rebecca Williams for Carol Goldsmith. Locally, we have 72 degrees.
And our skies are sunny. And in the news today, 3 of the worst crack houses in Greenville County were destroyed this morning, bulldozed, as the sheriff's office continues to fight the war on drugs. The houses near Greenville's Sterling community were known as a haven for drug users and dealers. The sheriff's office says they were bulldozed because they were dilapidated and beyond repair.
The property owners is we mean business about it. And we don't want to demolish homes. We're not in the demolishing business. We are in the law enforcement business, but we don't want a place for drug users to have a haven, and that's what was occurring.
There are at least 33 other homes in the county that have been identified as crack houses. The sheriff's officials say there could be as many as 100 more crack houses.
Ken, Greenville County authorities are investigating the murder of a 23-year-old female resident of Lakeshore Apartments. The young woman's body was found inside the apartment she shared with her sister early this morning. No word yet on the cause of death, but officials say they do suspect foul play. An autopsy is underway at this hour. The victim's name has not yet been released. Spartanburg County authorities are investigating a double shooting that left a Simpsonville man dead and his estranged wife critically injured. 27-year-old Curtis Paul was found dead in his car on Highway 290 in Moore last night. He suffered a gunshot wound to his head. Authorities say they found the gun inside his car. Paul's 9-month-old son was also in the car, but he was unharmed. Paul's estranged wife, 25-year-old Raina, was found 2 miles away, lying in the middle of Highway 417. She had been shot in the chest 5 times. She is listed in serious condition at this hour at Spartanburg Regional Medical Center.
Well, also in Spartanburg, Rebecca, authorities are still trying to identify the body of a decomposed body, that is, they found in the Reedville area. 2 squirrel hunters found the skeletal remains in a secluded wooded area last night. Coroner Jim Burnett says the body had been there for more than a month.
We have removed most of the remains, and we are investigating this as a homicide.
And you say it's a complete skeleton?
More or less complete skeleton, right.
Authorities say the body is too badly decomposed for on-site identification, but they hope that dental records will provide a clue to the identity. Back in Greenville County, an elderly Greenville woman, the victim of a brutal rape and beating, remains in serious condition this afternoon. The 69-year-old woman was found in her home near death earlier this week. Last night, police arrested 23-year-old James Fitzgerald Brown and charged him in relation to the case.
Assault and battery, intent to kill. We're talking about criminal sexual conduct known as rape. We're talking about burglary. And we're talking about robbery. It was a very violent beating of an elderly female in the community.
The residents of that community are in shock today that such a vicious crime could occur in their neighborhood, which is known as the Green Line neighborhood. Authorities say Ms. Brown is cooperating in the investigation. Last night, the suspect told reporters he had a drug problem and had an argument with the victim over money that he borrowed to buy cocaine.
The White House is issuing a warning to Congress that President Bush may veto a bill calling for funding of abortions for victims of rape or incest. The House has joined the Senate in approving that measure. Right now, only poor women whose lives are endangered by pregnancy are covered. Bush has said he will not support legislation that provides funding for abortions other than for life-threatening situations. Panama's General Noriega reportedly is claiming that the U.S. recruited and paid the rebel officers who led last week's attempted coup. Meantime, the widow of the man who led the attempted coup says the overthrow had been planned since February, but the U.S. was told about it only a couple of days before it happened. Fred Francis has more.
Adela Giraldi said the treachery of another commander cost her husband his life. She also expected the U.S. to move in if things went wrong.
If they didn't decide in time, I imagine it's because of the hierarchy in the decision-making process in the U.S.
U.S. officials insist they weren't asked to move because Mrs. Giraldi's husband was badly organized, had no plan to kill or remove Noriega quickly, and didn't even cut telephone lines used by Noriega to summon help. Mrs. Giraldi admits her husband should have killed the general.
Hay que matarlo. As we've seen, to get rid of this man, we'll have to kill him. And I hope someone, one of the many soldiers, one of the many officers that respect my husband's death, will be willing to kill him.
Mrs. Giraldi is staying in a secret location in Miami. She and 39 others were flown to safety in the U.S.
A search continues today in the Pacific for a missing sailor from the frigate USS Downs. The Navy says the sailor was one of 2 crewmen who fell overboard during military exercises yesterday. The second sailor was rescued. The incident was the second mishap reported yesterday involving a Navy vessel. One officer was killed and another person injured when gunnery fire from another ship hit the USS Iwo Jima during exercises off Norfolk, Virginia. More serious charges have now been pressed against a group of NC State wrestlers who were involved in a brawl last month. 8 wrestlers and 1 former wrestler are charged with assault inflicting serious injury. During that brawl outside a home in Raleigh, several people were hit with beer bottles or were kicked in the face and punched in the mouth. At least 1 person required surgery and several others had to be stitched back together. Originally, the wrestlers were charged with simple assault, and that was changed when authorities realized the extent of the injuries that they had inflicted on the others.
When News Center 4 continues, we'll find out about a mysterious search in North Buncombe County, North Carolina.
And also we'll find out why more and more doctors are reluctant to deliver babies these days after this.
Savings during the Harvest Day sale at Haverty's Furniture, Friday through Sunday only. For 3 days only, save an additional 10% off the already low sale prices. Choose from a wide selection of recliners, now just $260. A great selection of sofas, now $434 to $599. 3 days only, Friday through Sunday. 30, 60, 90 days, same as cash, or take up to 36 months to pay on Haverty's Charge Plan. Enjoy an additional 10% off the already low sale prices during the Harvest Day sale at Haverty's Furniture, 610 Haywood Road, Greenville.
Ground and air search is underway in the North Buncombe County community of Barnardsville at this hour. Several residents there reportedly heard a man crying for help. Teams are looking in a heavily wooded area on what is called Farmer's Mountain. We have a News Center 4 crew following that story. We'll have more details tonight at 6. It will be a long winter for residents of Charlotte. They'll have to wait until spring to see their city back to normal again. Charlotte officials say it will take at least 6 months before all the debris from Hurricane Hugo can be cleared. Later this month, the city will award contracts to remove 200,000 truckloads of tree limbs and other wreckage from the storm. That's enough to fill a 60-story skyscraper 3 or 4 times. More than half of all Medicare beneficiaries say they're in the dark about the catastrophic health care plan. That's the plan that's triggered political battles in Congress. The House recently voted to repeal the program because of complaints about a surtax on seniors. And that's just fine with most folks. 50% of the beneficiaries say they don't understand the plan, and nearly 30% say they've never even heard of it.
Wow. Well, in other medical news today, Rebecca, the high cost of milk. Up next at noon on News Center 4, the sentencing goes on for anti-abortion protesters in Greenville. We'll have a live report.
NAACP leader Dr. Bill Gibson says civil rights need more legislative guarantees.
And Jim Baker's brother, Norm, says he'll get to visit the jailed evangelist today. Hello, I'm Ken Sparks.
And I'm Rebecca Williams for Carol Goldsmith. News Center 4 at noon is next.
WYFF Greenville. And now with the noon edition, Ken Sparks, Carol Goldsmith, and Judy Booker with weather. This is News Center 4.
Good afternoon, everyone. In Greenville, we have 67 degrees.
Under sunny skies, 57 Greenville anti-abortionists have been sentenced to jail. The pro-lifers were convicted of trespassing yesterday for blocking the entrance to an abortion clinic last February.
As you know, our John Culbertson's been following the trial. He joins us live now from the Greenville County Courthouse with details of the sentencing. John?
Well, Ken, as you can see behind me right now, they are actually leading the defendants into the paddy wagons, taking them away. Every one of the defendants, the males, the females, they will all serve some time in jail at the Greenville County Detention Center. Let's look at exactly what those sentences are. Now, for the people who did not have prior convictions, the center to serve their time. Ken, Rebecca?
John, what was the reaction when the judge gave the sentence to these people?
Very calm, no outburst. It was as if they were expecting to go to jail. I think most of them were even figuring that they may get more than 10 or 15 days. They may actually have to serve the entire 30 days. So in a way, it was almost a break, but every one of them will serve some time.
I hear some singing in the background, John, and just based on what you said, we get the impression these people seem to feel like they're martyrs for their cause.
They are. The people who are singing are people who were in the courtroom with them today, family, friends, other people who believe in this cause. As they're being led to the paddy wagon right now behind me, there's a large group of friends and supporters standing around singing hymns, trying to offer their support. But in the courtroom today, they were very well behaved. There were no outbursts.
Okay. John Culbertson, thank you very much. Reporting live from the Greenville County Courthouse where the sentencing of those anti-abortion protesters is going on right now. Of course, you'll tell us more tonight at 6. Also in the news today, a fight over money last night in Asheville left one man dead, another charged with murder. According to lawmen, the shooting occurred around 8 last evening at the Hill. And our Rod Whiting will, of course, have more for us tonight at 6.
Ken, a brutal assault this week in Pickens County against a mother and her 2 children. The Pickens County Sheriff's Office tells us Tuesday evening a woman was shot and assaulted in her home, and her 2 small children were pistol whipped. All 3 were taken to Greenville Memorial Medical Center and are still being treated. The Sheriff's Office says so far they have no suspects in this case. A national NAACP leader says his organization is gearing up for a fight. The group's chairman of the board, Bill Gibson, says the NAACP plans to ask South Carolina legislators to pre-file a state bill that parallels federal civil rights laws. Recent incidents like the Augusta restaurant owner who refused to serve blacks and the Saluda swimming pool that was segregated prompted the campaign. Gibson says the law would make state boards and commissions more responsible for their actions when racism is uncovered.
Becca, there's some rather scary health news out today. 7,300 pounds of chicken salad are being recalled by the Star Food Company of Burlington, North Carolina.